Greetings. Thanks for joining me, Sagittarius. This is your full moon eclipse reading in your sign, obviously, which is on the 26th of May. We're doing a Celtic cross, a shortened version of the lovely Celtic cross to see what's going on for you at this current time. So let's just see. These readings will not necessarily resonate, of course, but let's have a look at current energies. We'll get a central point. We look at what's behind you. We look at what's behind you, where you're at, and moving forward at this time. So let's have a wee look. Saggies, we'll get these cards out first. Just one for the basis, please. And what's behind you? They're all face down. Yeah. What's behind you? Oh, where you're at currently. And then we'll go through and clarify, pull a few more cards. We seem to be getting two coming out for each position, so we'll just stick with that. Moving forward, please. Hopefully here on the east coast, the North Island of Aotearoa, maybe if the clouds get blown away, we might be able to see this beautiful full moon eclipse. I hope so. Okay, moving forward. Let's turn these up and see what's happening. It's all very exciting, and we'll talk about the central point to begin with. Okay. Wow. So I think this possibly is the beginning. Wow. The beginning of a, as we kind of go through on a hero's journey, don't we? And then we, along the way, overcome some things. And it does feel at the moment that we're rewriting our own personal narrative as we project forward. So you come out, dear Saggies, with two nines, the 9 of swords and the 9 of wands. The 9 of swords being a card of sort of nightmares and unfounded worries. Sometimes these worries, though, it's no good obsessing, having sleepless nights, all that sort of thing, but they can kick us, gear us into action, which is really the catalyst, the driver for everything, isn't it? Action, because nothing ever, action is a verb. But we start out, Sagittarius. The 9 of Wands is about, to me, it's about habitual behaviours. And so I think we find ourselves, and I say we meaning you, we find ourselves getting out of some old patterns of behaviour. The basis for this is walking away in a certain way, leaving some what seemed like we get the 7 of Cups, a card of many options, but also of figuring out, all right, what do I need, as opposed with what do I want. Can I get some ideas flying here off the ground, imaginings, but it's almost as if there's an inability to act here. In the Thoth deck we see 7 Cups that's sort of been sitting there so long they've just become stagnant. So we see putrefying, a sort of putrefaction taking place with the water in these cups. which I always think is quite an interesting representation of it, because often you'll see the Seven of Cups as many options, what is viable to go with and what is not, what is a personal illusion or illusionary desires and what is not, because it is a card about desire here. With it, an assessment. With it, we have the beautiful Eight of Cups. We walk towards that golden horizon line that we see in this cup, and that horizon line becomes our backdrop in the two. So we look to find the two possibly, or we just see the necessity. It's the time is right. So we leave old habits here. The time is right to detach really from some old fantasy. Possibly that, I mean, I don't mean to sound harsh, it's not harsh. We remove ourselves, we become sort of detached from that, and that allows, you know, potentials for actual real building of something in the material sense that you've wanted to build for a long time. I find this interesting, but in order to do that you need to ditch some old habitual behaviours. Lovely Sagittarius. In the past, what is behind you? We have the Eight of Swords. We have the Eight of Swords, the self-limitation card. You know, it's kind of like, well, we have obligation, we have responsibility, but we're not necessarily bound in the sense that we possibly feel that we are sometimes. You've moved through this, and so that would indicate, you know, that's behind you. And to me it goes really well with the Nine of Wands, the classic wounded warrior card, defense. I think you're sick of that mode, of that habitual mode. And so we're moving forward currently in the current position. Yeah, we've realised, look, and I think this is happening for a lot of people collectively and individually at the moment, is that ridding ourselves of burden. I mean, and it's very difficult. I mean, this is something that is worked upon over time. We see here that you see this. You're in a fantastic position with the Hermit. We have the Ten of Wands. We see the levels of restriction in our lives and what we can release, what we can get rid of. We see it because we've gone into hermit mode and shone a light in those corners. So the work in progress is really working out for you, dear Sagittarius. Now moving forward, we have two cards. Yes, indeed we do. We get the Devil. Living life to its full capacity is what I get from this reading, from the cards here. You know, yeah, there's as in all cards, there's the higher polarity and the lower, and in the Thoth deck we see this. We see our bondage, we see our codependent tendencies, whatever they are. We see, you know, our own bondage. This is the same in here, really. Is that in the Eight of Swords? It's a mental prison, isn't it? And yet we're not bound by anything. It's that funny thing. What was I going to say? I've forgotten now. But anyway, so we see, look, I see this as living, as sort of projecting forward and thinking, look, after releasing, of which you are, or you're in the process of doing, or this is occurring for you currently, and it's required a level of detachment, emotional detachment, and sitting in that place for a while, sitting there for a while. We here have the devil living, fully appreciating everything that life has to offer us in its material, beautiful material form. This world, we're surrounded by nature, this food, people, all of those things. Because we have the Princess of Discs, the Princess of Discs pregnant with these new possibilities. In this reading, it really says, or it feels to me, that you've actually shifted your, the weather vane has kind of turned, and you're looking in, a new direction here, and seeing that some new directives for the future. I think it's really great. Saggies. It's really good. So let's just have a wee look here. What am I interested in? What are we interested in, Saggy? Let's have a look at this. What is this sort of habitual worrying or habit? The habit of worry and defense. Can we get just one card, please? Habit. Oh, just too many. The Wounded Warrior. The Wounded Warrior is a level of trying to retain balance whilst really being surrounded by movement. This is about a decision. It is making a decision and keeping things in a balanced zone. But, the thing with that is that you can do that. You can do it for a while, but obviously, the time to make a decision comes. So, and that is your transformation. We get the Death card coming out when I speak of that. This is what is transforming, is that I think underneath it all, whatever this is in your life, it could be about a job, it could be anything, it could be about moving or like anything at all, but this is what currently is your sort of transformation, and it is a death of the old and a beginning of the new. And so we get another 2. I'm just going to rifle on here. We get the 2 of Wands. So you are projecting ahead. You are seeing maybe a different potential future for yourself. You are seeing what is open to you, and you're seeing what is your domain. It's amazing. And what you can do with that, and how you can work with it. The traditional 2 of Wands, this, flying out of my hand. This, looking over your kingdom or queendom. It's beautiful. It's really lovely, Sagittarius. So, what am I doing? We're going to go and get some guidance from Brian Froud's Fairy Oracle, where we look at the Hermit, please. You look at the Hermit. This is a journey. It is a journey. Look, I just think you're in a fabulous position. We get Geo the slow. Everything in its own time. There are some certainties in life of which we know. One of the most basic ones is that the sun comes up unless there's some cataclysmic event and, you know, something happens and it doesn't come up. But if it doesn't come up, we're basically screwed, aren't we? We know that the seed germinates, that it sends out a shoot under the right condition. In the right conditions. There are some certainties in the way that the natural world retains its balance. There's a, you know, it's natural law. There are some certainties in that. And there is nothing personal about it. You know, I think you are heading. One overcomes and then heads towards with a level of detachment, but a great desire to appreciate the fruits, everything of this earth, and all that you yourself have worked towards. That is your domain, dear Sagittarius. So we'll just get, it's pretty strong reading. We'll just get a journey map card. Just one. Oh, yeah. In this personal quest, dear Sagittarians, one of the major things I think that we consider and that we think about. Oh, I love how the little the abacus is glowing sort of golden there for a moment. In this quest, we really review what we've put our energy into. This card is about every energy exchange, whether it's in a group, a situation with individuals. We have an energetic bank account, and we know when it's depleted. It makes, you know, our bodies show us, our minds show us also when it is depleted. We measure this up. Energy in, energy out. What do we gravitate to? You know, because ultimately it's our responsibility, our energetic ledger and how it's looking. I think this has been a great consideration all the way through here for you, beautiful Sagittarius. It's like a real meat and potato kind of reading, if you know what I mean. Like chompsy. You know, that's what it feels like. So let's get some words from the I've got funny light because it's cloud and then it's sun, and little words of just words, please, from the star. Yeah, truth, clarity and discernment is what we get for you, lovely Sagittarius. So I hope this found you well, and you have a wonderful time over the eclipse in your sign, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Ka kite. Take care. Take good care.